guess what? It's time for Making Kayfabe with your hosts, Bryce and Dylan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Making Kayfabe. Season 6 is rolling on with a bang. Now, last week we saw Bryce kick everything off with a rebooking of Cody Rhodes if he were to stay with AEW. And by now, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title of this episode. You already know that in the Making Kayfabe first, I am rebooking somebody we've already rebooked before, and it's Cody Rhodes. Can you believe that? We're going to have two in a row. It's a double feature, a double Cody, if you will. We're going to rebook Cody, but a different spin. This time it's going to be in the WWE. So, two different companies, two different spins on things. That's us at Making Kayfabe. We're always keeping you guys on your toes and giving you something fresh all the time. Now, Bryce, let's just get straight into things. Hello, Bryce. How are you?
Really good, man. Really good. I think this is actually the second time we've booked someone we've already booked before. Because I, once upon a time, did CM Punk, and then you did CM Punk Straight Edge Society. So
that is true.
So it's the second time, but it's the first time I've done this for Cody Rhodes. That's for sure.
Exactly. Technically, it's the third time because I did the gobbledygooker and you also did the gobbledygooker.
That's actually true. One of those is a Patreon exclusive, though. That's fine.
Now that I think about it, you know... We do it all the time, really.
Yeah, we literally all the time.
But this is the first time we've taken somebody and rebooked their WWE career and their AEW career.
Exactly.
In the same year.
And within 2 episodes of each other.
We're not talking different time. For the CM Punk one, that was 2 different time periods.
That is true.
But this is happening this year. It's current.
That's it. This is all 2022 for Cody Rhodes, and really excited to hear this. We had this idea a while back. Like I would book him in AEW and you book him in WWE, and then we kind of see how it would all turn out. So you kind of get both sides of the coin today. What would happen if he stayed with AEW, and what could happen if he stays with WWE? So he's going to stay with WWE, obviously. But
what if he doesn't?
What if he doesn't? What if your booking is just him going back to AEW? Who knows?
What if he just walks away?
What if he just says "fuck this," takes his ball, and goes home?
Exactly. No, I don't want to make any spoilers for what the rest of the episode is going to be. What a downer that would be if my episode was just Cody Rhodes goes back to AEW.
There's no possible way you can book him in WWE good.
My storyline is he goes back to AEW and then does Bryce's storyline. The end. That's the end of that.
No, we need to get to the train track part.
Well, he will, because that's part of your storyline. Remember, that was a very integral part. If you guys haven't heard the first, you got to go back and check out the first Cody Rhodes part in AEW. It'll make a whole lot of sense. If
you have listened to that episode and you don't remember the train tracks, go and listen again, because you missed it. You definitely missed it.
Definitely check it out again. It's essential viewing, really. It is. It's essential. And so today is going to be no different. Now, last week you booked Cody Rhodes in AEW. This week, I'm booking Cody Rhodes in WWE. But I want to know, Bryce, what do you think? Were you excited about Cody Rhodes leaving AEW to go to WWE? Or do you think he would be better off in AEW?
So, I mean, it's tough, man. Like, I've not watched enough of him in WWE to comment on it, really. I don't regularly watch WWE. I watched him at WrestleMania. I thought that was a good match he had with Seth Rollins. I guess he made the right call. Bearing in mind, he was just adamantly against turning face in AEW, and no matter what he did, he literally set himself on fire. He cut some really good promos. He done some crazy shit, and he was still getting booed, and that wasn't going to change. So if he is stubborn's not the word, but if he is adamant enough that he does not want to turn heel, then WWE is absolutely the right place for him, because from what I've seen of him, he's getting a great reaction over there right now as a babyface. So with that in mind, I guess he has made the right call in going to WWE. It does leave room as well for him going back to AEW, where he might even get the hero's welcome when he comes back, or he might get booed to fuck. But as it stands for his career right now, he's probably made the right move, yeah.
I think you're correct on that, in that if he were to hypothetically take his ball and go home and just go back to AEW,
which may or may not happen in this story.
Wink, wink. But either he will be welcomed back with open arms and therefore will get the face reaction that he always wanted, or they'll hate him and he can finally do the heel stuff we've been waiting on. Either way, like him leaving to go to WWE, his career is set either way. You know, if he goes back to AEW, he has the money, but now that he's in WWE, he can see he's already getting good crowd reactions. You know, either way, he's very savvy, very smart man.
Yeah, he's doing what a lot of people are doing right now. They're playing the two companies against each other, which fair enough. Like you may as well
make that money.
What you're fucking worth, you know.
Exactly.
So, absolutely, man. So yeah, no. I don't think there's any hard feelings for him leaving AEW and going to WWE. You know, like it's a sensible move for him at this point of his career, and the door's left open for future. Yeah.
One other thing I think is very interesting is that I do agree with you in that towards the end of Cody Rhodes' run in AEW, he should have been a heel. Like that would have made sense.
100%.
And so the way you booked him made sense as a heel in AEW. And I think conversely, in WWE, he's been a very good face. And so my rebooking is going to kind of focus on that. You know, so now we've got heel Cody Rhodes in AEW, face Cody Rhodes in WWE. Again, we're keeping things fresh. You see that?
Two totally different perspectives as
totally
well.
Different.
It'd be really cool to see how this turns out. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, man. It's whenever I heard that Cody Rhodes was leaving to go to WWE, I had the idea for this storyline.
Oh, really?
So
nice.
this has been bubbling for like weeks, months by now, really.
Yeah.
And I was very, very excited to get it written down. Why don't we do a little bit of history of Cody Rhodes?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this thing. All right, so Cody Rhodes began wrestling while he was training with his father, whose name I can't remember right now. Do you remember what his father is? What was his name? Is it Ric Flair?
David Flair.
David Flair? Yeah. That's probably right. Yeah.
Sounds a bit right. Yeah.
I think it was one of the Flairs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was from a famous wrestling family, so it's got to be the Flairs, the Hearts or something, right?
It's like one of those, yeah. I think it was the Flairs.
Cody Rhodes, he's probably a Flair, yeah. So, in 2006, he began working for Ohio Valley Wrestling, where he formed a team with Sean Spears. Whatever happened to that guy? Who is actually he's also still wrestling in AEW.
Yes.
This is very interesting. That team eventually split up, as all good teams do at some point, and also all of the bad teams. And then in 2007, he appeared on WWE television first to induct his father into the WWE Hall of Fame. Again, I can't quite remember who that is. It was probably Ric Flair. He's been in like three times, so like it was probably one of those times.
Ric Flair again, yeah.
And then later on in 2007, he would actually wrestle on the show, getting involved with Randy Orton as part of the legendary Randy Orton versus Dusty Rhodes feud. Oh, it was Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, that's who it was.
That's who it was. Remember whenever Dusty Rhodes and Randy Orton had a feud in 2007?
Randy Orton was Dusty Rhodes' last match, right?
I think so. And
it was a strap match. It was Texas Bull Rope or something, yeah.
Yes, and Cody was involved with that feud. So he debuted by losing to Randy Orton a couple of times.
Amazing.
Excellent start. But hey, don't worry about it. It's the WWE. They're not going to fuck this guy up that badly, are they? So he lost a couple of matches to Randy Orton, and then he went straight into a feud with Sean Daivari. You know, sometimes we wonder, do we really need to rebook some of these guys and then the WWE make it really fucking easy for us? Like, good God, man. Is that how you debut somebody?
Good God, yeah. When was this? 2007 or something?
2007. Yeah. Randy Orton did Daivari. Like, come on, man. So after that feud, he went into another feud with, that's right, you guessed it, Hardcore Holly.
Yes.
Eventually winning the respect of the disgruntled Hardcore Holly. And they won the tag titles together, only for Cody Rhodes to turn on Harley and start teaming with Ted DiBiase, also a son of a famous wrestler. They would work a program with Randy Orton, becoming Legacy, because they're all related to different...
Who is Ted DiBiase the son of? Who is Ted DiBiase Jr. the son of?
I think we'd have to phone up the Iron Sheik to find that out.
Hey.
Do you have his number?
Let's just let's see how much we can wring out of this joke, which isn't even a good joke to start off with.
Well, listen, that's why my script is so long. Because I kept putting that joke in there. Anyway, the point is, of course, this little feud with Legacy eventually ended up with Orton beating Rhodes and DiBiase at WrestleMania in 2010. You can see how this is going so far. But after this, it seemed like Cody Rhodes actually started to go somewhere. He became dashing Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And was, he like a narcissist who was so beautiful and stuff like this, until Rey Mysterio broke his nose, and then he had to wear the little face mask, and he became...
I enjoyed this. Yeah, this was good. This was good character development.
Exactly. I loved this, and this was arguably his high point in the WWE. Really memorable character, great in-ring work, success as an Intercontinental Champion, great stuff. So obviously, they soon botched this. They had him teaming with Damien Sandow as the Rhodes Scholars. You remember this?
I do.
Didn't last very long. And then they teamed him with his brother Goldust, eventually leading to Cody painting his face alongside Goldust and calling himself Stardust.
Was that Goldust, son of Dusty Rhodes?
Oh, I never put that together.
There you go.
Wow. That makes sense when you think about it.
That's the last of that joke.
Guys.
Sorry, listeners.
Guys, if you really like this joke, please let us know. I'd make a kayfabe on Twitter.
Buddy, it's just you and me now. The listeners are gone.
Yeah.
They're out of here.
We didn't like the joke either.
They did not stay on the bus.
Well, then they're going to miss a hell of a rebooking. But
they are. Anyway.
So Stardust, of course, was a huge departure from the kind of character Cody Rhodes had been playing before, but it also showed what kind of a range he has. He went with that. He put his heart into that, He
did his best, yeah.
Yeah, he really did. And it was a totally different character, but he made it work. After the tag team of Goldust ran its course, Cody remained as Stardust and tried to go into a solo career, but that didn't really go the way he would have liked. Then he even teamed up with former Making Kayfabe subjects of the Ascension as the world-famous Cosmic Wasteland.
That's right.
This was so popular that I don't even know how long it lasted. I suspect...
years.
3 weeks.
Decades.
That's my guess. You think decades, I think 3 weeks.
It's somewhere in between that, I think.
Well, it's obviously since the WWE hit the Ascension, this didn't go anywhere. And Cody Rhodes was just spinning his wheels and just left the company in 2016. And as we covered in last week's episode, he's been very successful since then. He's been Ring of Honor NWA champion, went to All Elite Wrestling, where he was executive producer there.
Executive vice president, yeah.
He's executive vice president there with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. He's a 3-time TNT champion. He had some very, very memorable spots on the show. And, I think he was pretty successful there. But in 2022, his contract expired and he went back to the WWE, where he re-debuted at WrestleMania 2022 against Seth Rollins. And that brings us bang right up to date. Well, that's where we're going to start today's rebooking at. I'm sure you're very surprised to hear all this history after you have rebooked Cody Rhodes yourself.
This is all news to me, yeah.
He was... What? TNT champion?
What? He was what's AEW?
I think you'd really like it.
I thought I made that up, my fantasy booking.
You thought you dreamed it?
Yeah.
Why would Chris Jericho leave the WWE? He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
He did do that. My goodness. He'll be back soon, will you see?
He will be. Just
Probably.
like Cody. Just like they'll all be back.
I honestly, yeah, just because it's a good way to make some more money, right?
That's right.
Like you said, play the sides against each other. Why not? It's business.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Chris Jericho didn't end up back in WWE. I'd be surprised if MJF didn't eventually go to WWE. It's...
But then on the flip side, you'd be surprised if some guys from the WWE didn't end up going back, going to AEW as well.
As has already happened many times.
Exactly.
Adam
Keith
Cole
Lee
left WWE for AEW. If Keith Lee, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly,
Daniel
Bryan.
Yeah. A lot of big names, man. So it's an interesting time.
It definitely is. Really
interesting time. Now, Cody Rhodes has done pretty okay since we came back. Like you said, he's been getting really good crowd reactions. People seem to be digging him, even though the WWE have predictably just made him fight Seth Rollins over and over again. But even that hasn't soured people too much, because Seth Rollins is a solid guy in the ring. People want to see Cody Rhodes. They put on some fun matches. I haven't seen the Backlash one, but I saw the WrestleMania one.
Had zombies.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Well, that's it. I reliably informed you that there were zombies.
Well, it sounds like I lucked out by not watching it then, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. There was no Miz.
Well, that's good. Speaking of no zombies and no Miz, would you like to hear my rebooking of Cody? Well, it's not a rebooking because it hasn't happened yet.
It's a fantasy booking.
Yes. I mean, this really is, when we get to the end of it, you'll be like, that's a very fantasy booking. But at the same time, I think you're going to find it to be a lot of fun. So, shall we just get straight into it and book some Cody Rhodes?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. All right. So, like we said, Cody Rhodes has been a staple of AEW television since the very beginning, but in 2022, it's announced that he will be parting ways with the company, but there's no hard feelings on either side. AEW was good to Cody, and in return, he was pretty good to them, offering up some very memorable moments, such as his feud with MJF, trading the TNT Championship with Sammy Guevara, or that moonsault off the cage against Wardlow. Do you remember that?
Yeah, awesome. Such a fucking tall cage as well. It's insane.
There's been some great stuff. You were talking about the flaming table spot as well.
Yeah.
And the cutter.
He was legitimately on fire.
I know, to be fair.
He was covering Andrade and he was on fire while doing it.
To be like, he took most of that bump through the table, which
he took all of it.
Unfortunate.
He took all of it.
I mean, it looked good, but poor Cody. And that cutter off the ladder and stuff like that. Like, spectacular moments.
To the very end, that was his last match. To the very end, he was doing awesome spots in the AEW.
But those are the kind of things you put like in a highlight reel, or like on your opening, and then he left.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can't even like put it on the show.
2 weeks later, yeah.
Which is a shame. But, he put some really fun stuff onto AEW, but he let his contract run out because there's just something that AEW will never be able to offer Cody, and he just had to follow his heart. It's not about money. It's not about championships. He just had some unfinished business. So eventually, after a lot of teasing, a lot of fan speculation, Cody Rhodes makes his debut at WrestleMania 2022. So we'll keep that the same, Big pop. He debuts against Seth Rollins. Great stuff. He wins. And then also, we'll keep it where he goes to Backlash, beats Seth Rollins again. Because, why the fuck not, right? We got a lot of time to cover here.
With or without zombies?
Oh, you know what? I didn't mention it. It's up to your imagination.
Oh, cool. Great. Okay.
Now, one thing you guys might have noticed in our rebookings is that don't start the zombies.
Cody Rhodes, King of the Zombies.
Yes. Yeah. That's next week's episode.
3 straight weeks of Cody Rhodes.
It's going to be 4 where I make him not the King of the Zombies. Now, one thing you might have noticed from our rebookings is that I think that you are very good at the week-to-week stuff. And I'm pretty good at the bigger picture, the longer stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be covering a big time period here. So that's why we're kind of moving those pay-per-views pretty quick. But trust me, it'll all make sense. You'll see where we're going like halfway through it, I imagine. But, I think you'll still dig it. So Cody Rhodes is feeling good after his wins against Seth Rollins at Backlash and at WrestleMania and at WrestleMania Backlash and Backlash WrestleMania and Backmania WrestleFest and whatever.
Etc.
He's feeling good, And in fact, he's feeling great. So there's a reason he returned to the WWE. And he's out talking to the crowd, hamming it up, being a face. And he's telling them that there's just some business he needs to take care of. And he's not talking about Seth Rollins, Although Seth did bring the fight to him, but there's someone else. Someone in the WWE that Cody's been desperate to settle up some business with. Desperate to fight, to just go one-on-one with. Somebody that he could only fight in the WWE. Something that the AEW, God bless him, just could never give him.
Oh, I think I know who.
And that man's name is Stevie Richards.
Ah, amazing.
Oh, who did you think it was going to be?
Kid Cash.
He's at the railway tracks.
And also, I think it's Randy Orton. Is it Randy Orton?
That man's name is Triple H.
Oh, okay.
So the crowd fucking goes nuts for wee trips.
Wee trippers.
Wee trippers. Cody tells the world that he knows Triple H has effectively retired by now. But, that's not good enough for Cody. He wants to fight Triple H. It's been written in the stars, It's the only logical conclusion. In AEW, we've all seen the allusions to Triple H. We've all seen this.
The sledgehammer to the throne. Yeah.
Exactly. But even him and Brandy be on AEW television, shades of Triple H and Stephanie, you know what I mean?
He was almost. He was. I don't know if you saw this at the end of his AEW run, but when he was being more heelish, he was teasing the pedigree as a finish. He would like he would get them in like the pedigree position, and then he'd do like a tiger driver instead.
Nice,
really clever.
But that's it. He's been laying the clues this whole time, right?
Yeah.
And AEW, God bless him, they just couldn't give that to him. But now he's back in the WWE. This is the only reason he came back. He has to fight this dream match. Cody Rhodes versus Triple H. Now, backstage, obviously, Triple H has heard what Cody has to say because, surprisingly, he's one of the few people that watches Raw. So it's announced that next week on Raw, Triple H is going to address Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes doesn't want to wait, but Triple H is like, listen, man, it'll be worth it. Just give me 1 week. I'm not ready yet, but you'll get all the answers you need. So Cody waits a week. Everybody waits a week. Anticipation. You see this? Next week, you're going to hear what Triple H says, so people are going to tune in because everybody loves wee trips. So next week, Cody's out. He's waiting for Triple H to come out. You know, he's waiting for the arrival of the game, the King of Kings, Mr. Fantastic, the Doctor of Thugonomics, the Wrestling God, the Olympic gold medalist, the Dead Man, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, Triple H. I don't know if those are all his nicknames. He had a lot of nicknames.
I think he borrowed some of those.
Yeah, I don't remember him winning the Olympics, but, you know.
No.
I'm saying he's a lot of nicknames, basically. So Triple H comes out, but it's not the Triple H we all remember, you know, with his shirt off and spitting water and you know, being all aggressive and stuff like this. He's coming out, he's in a suit, he's looking a little frail, he's walking with a cane.
Oh, okay.
You know, because he had some health problems, right?
He had
He's
the
retired.
heart problems, right? Yeah. So
he gets down to the ring pretty slowly. Cody's up watching this. He's like, did I make a mistake here? Triple H gets into the ring with the assistance from a referee, you know, helps him into the ring. And Triple H says, here I am. I don't know if you've noticed this. I've retired. You know, Triple H didn't really go around shouting it out. He was, surprisingly, he tried to keep it a bit of a secret. But this is the internet age. Everybody finds out everything. And yes, Triple H had a couple of health issues, and he's effectively retired. Not only is he crazy busy with backstage stuff, you know, the corporate stuff that nobody really likes to talk about, but he suffered a pretty rough health scare back in 2021, and he's just been laying low ever since. So he's retired. There's nothing to be gained by fighting an old man. You know what I mean? There can't be a Triple H versus Cody Rhodes feud because Triple H just can't do it. You know? But Triple H gets a little glint in his eye because he's still the game. And he tells Cody if he really wants a fight, Triple H himself may not be able to give it to him, but he can find a way. If Cody wants to play the game, Triple H can play the game perfectly. Now Cody looks very perplexed as Triple H is helped out of the ring again, and he's helped backstage. Cody Rhodes is like, what's this mean? Cody wants to go and attack Triple H, but of course he can't. He can't lay his hands on Triple H. That's the joke. There we go. I got it in. You really... There's no good jokes in this. Yes, there are. Triple H.
You wrote the entire episode around that joke, didn't you?
And I think we can all agree it was worth it.
Oh no, I feel terrible for laughing at that.
Look, it's not real, alright? So, Cody Rhodes is a bit perplexed, but, you know, business as usual. So next week on Raw, Cody Rhodes is out, he's making his entrance, whenever he's suddenly blindsided during his entrance by a couple of people. And it turns out those people are the Creed brothers from NXT,
okay.
Julius and Brutus Creed. Now, we know Triple H has had his hand in NXT for a long time. They're like used to be his kind of proteges, the other guys from NXT. And it becomes apparent over the next couple of weeks that Triple H is starting to amass a little group to fight Cody on his behalf. You see, Triple H himself might not be able to fight, but he can still make Cody Rhodes' life miserable. Because that's what Triple H does. He's a cerebral assassin, right? Smart dude.
I think it's really good that Creed are finally giving pro wrestling a chance after, you know, their hits like With Arms Wide Open and My Own Prison, you know. It's good to see them at wrestling now, you know.
I thought you were going to do an Apollo Creed joke where it's that he's given up boxing to go to wrestling, but then You were like, no, Creed. Remember the band from 20 years ago?
Creed were fucking awesome, man.
I really liked their third album. Like, unironically, it's really good.
Unironically, I liked it. I think the first album, I think it was. I liked
the first one.
They got some good songs, man.
The first one's actually pretty good too, but the third one had "My Sacrifice" and stuff on it. You're like, that's a banging song.
Right, okay, that's a proper montage video song. But "My Own Prison's" good, and fucking
there's a bunch.
"Stand Here With Me" is a good song.
"Torns" is really good.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of that first album that are like, I think people slag off Creed and like, you haven't heard their first album, man. Go listen to that stuff. It's pretty interesting, you know.
I think they only slag off Creed because like Scott Stapp.
Yeah, because that guy's a dick.
I don't know if I've not heard of him being a dick, but he's very much a Tesco value Eddie Vedder, isn't he?
Yeah, like they grew like Eddie Vedder in a lab, and it came out like Scott Stapp. You know?
he's a misshapes of Eddie Vedder.
Exactly. You know. Have you seen the Celebrity Deathmatch? Do you remember Celebrity Deathmatch?
I do remember it. Yeah.
They did one which was Eddie Vedder versus Scott Stapp.
No way.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna check this out right after this episode.
After the episode. So, guys at home, check that out too. But also after this episode, listen to this first, because trust me, by the end of it, it'll blow you away.
So in all seriousness, Triple H has got his group together. He's got the Creed brothers in from NXT, the very athletic duo from NXT.
Yeah.
And they've been throwing people around over there, so they're now in the main roster.
Exactly. So now Cody Rhodes starts getting assaulted by people in the next couple of weeks, and Cody Rhodes is getting pretty annoyed about this, as you would do when somebody starts blindsiding you. So Cody Rhodes realizes he needs some help beating these two guys up. He's only one man. So he needs to temporarily find himself a tag team partner in order to fight the Creed brothers. And he actually goes to his old rival, Seth Rollins. Because Cody Rhodes might not like him, but he respects him. He's like, we fought twice already. You brought me to the limit. It was a great way to start. I know you're a great wrestler. I need your help beating these guys up. You know, and Seth doesn't really care much for Cody, but he does agree that Triple H is kind of taking advantage of his backstage powers and trying to make an example out of Cody Rhodes. Maybe that's a bit too much, you know? So let's have a tag team match at Money in the Bank. The Creed brothers against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, all right? So here we go. The match starts, the bell rings, and obviously Seth Rollins immediately turns on Cody Rhodes and
I'm fucking immediately
and helps the Creed.
The match didn't even go on.
Doesn't even. Yep. Seth Rollins just blindsides Cody Rhodes, beats the shit out of him. 3-on-1 handicap match essentially, and that's it for Cody Rhodes, obviously. So the next week on Raw, Seth Rollins explains himself. He was pissed off that Cody has beaten him already after only just having come back into the WWE for such a short amount of time. But you know what? Even if that hadn't happened, he still would have done what he did at Money in the Bank anyway, because of Triple H. Seth Rollins owes his WWE career to Triple H. You know, Seth didn't run away like Cody did whenever stuff didn't go his way. Seth stuck the course. And who was there with him? Triple H. He aligned himself with Triple H and the Authority, and everything went his way. Everything. So now when Triple H needs help to beat up Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins is only too happy to oblige. You know what I mean? Triple H may not be able to wrestle anymore, but now Seth Rollins is going to be the guy to do that for him. Triple H isn't some helpless old man. He knows how to delegate. Like we said, nobody plays the game better than Triple H.
He is the game.
Everybody knows that. Exactly. But Cody Rhodes has been away so long, he was playing some other game. He forgot how it works.
What game was he playing?
He was playing Pac-Man. But we're in the 21st century, my friend. Pac-Man's old news.
Yeah, it's all about 3D Pac-Man these days.
Yeah, which is actually probably worse. What do you think about it? But don't worry about that. So Cody Rhodes comes out and starts to brawl with Seth Rollins, but Seth is smiling because he knows that he's already got the upper hand. He's starting to get into Cody Rhodes' head, just like Triple H taught him. Plus, he has the Creed brothers by his side, and they're able to take down Cody before he can do much damage. So don't you get it, Cody? You might not be fighting Triple H, but that's because everybody else has moved on, except for you. Seth Rollins is the new Triple H, the new benchmark. You want to be good? You want to prove yourself? You have to beat this Seth Rollins now. There's a new Seth Rollins, one full of anger and rage, one who's going to make his mentor proud. Triple H might not be able to beat up Cody Rhodes, but Seth Rollins sure as fuck can. So what we're doing is we're angling for a rematch at SummerSlam. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Now, you might be thinking, oh, you're having these guys fight again. But I think we've already established it's a new twist on things. We've given a little bit of space between the last two. The last time they fought was at Backlash. Yeah. Now this is at SummerSlam a couple of months later. There's been some twists and turns. It's a little different. There's stakes involved, So at SummerSlam 3, Seth Rollins is backed by the Creed brothers in his corner, obviously. And so despite Cody Rhodes doing the best that he can, it's essentially a 3-on-1 match. The Creed brothers at ringside, always causing trouble. And Seth Rollins manages to win just from the sheer numbers game, See, numbers are great. So Seth Rollins and the boys are looking good. They're backed by Triple H, who's like pulling the strings. We're going to have Cody Rhodes take a couple of weeks off to kind of sell the beatdown by Rollins and the Creed brothers. We're going to have him come back in September to try and get his revenge on Seth. Cody still kind of wants to fight Triple H and his group. But at some point, he gets an opportunity to fight for the Intercontinental Championship at the October pay-per-view, which I think is Crown Jewel. So I guess he's going to Saudi Arabia. But during that match, Seth Rollins and the Creed brothers interfere and they screw Cody out of the match and the belt. So now Cody realizes he needs some serious backup. So at the time, we're going to have the Creed brothers, a tag team, on the main roster, working a feud with the Viking Raiders. So Cody Rhodes has found himself a bit of backup now. We're heading into Survivor Series. We can see Cody Rhodes and the Viking Raiders versus Seth Rollins and the Creed brothers. But Cody Rhodes is an old school kind of guy. He wants it to be a more traditional Survivor Series match. It's not typically a 3-on-3 kind of match, but you can get a 4-on-4 Survivor Series match, right? We've had that before, like an 8-man kind of tag team. And Cody Rhodes is pissed off now. He's spent months fighting Triple H's goons from the sidelines. He hasn't had a chance to fight Triple H yet. And he doesn't believe this injury shit. So he says, listen, I want to fight 4-on-4. I want Seth Rollins, the Creed brothers, and Triple H. And to counteract that, I'm going to have to find a fourth man as well. It's me and the Viking Raiders. I need a fourth guy, right? So we need a legend, somebody who Triple H has got history with. Why don't we bring in
Scott Stapp?
Well, his arms are wide open.
he's like, pick me.
Yeah. But then obviously he was going on tour with his own shitty band, not Creed, his own like solo stuff, which isn't good.
I've not heard that. I assume it's shit.
It's not great. So instead of Scott Stapp, obviously that was his number one pick, but he had to scribble that out. And he's like, all right, I'll go to my number 2 pick. If I can't have Scott Stapp, I'll get The Rock.
Oh.
Now, this might sound like a bit of a wild card, but you think of it, The Rock and Triple H have plenty of history with each other. The Rock has been at Survivor Series plenty of times, has put up some big moments at Survivor Series. And Cody thinks that having The Rock come back might be the thing that will coax Triple H out of retirement, right?
Very interesting.
Yeah. But Triple H, of course, once again assures Cody Rhodes that he's retired. He just can't do anything about it. But maybe his new protege, Austin Theory, can take his place. So that's like the Raw before Survivor Series. So now at Survivor Series, we've got Cody Rhodes, the Viking Raiders, and The Rock against Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, who was originally supposed to be Triple H, and the Creed brothers. So, during the match, there's a run-in between The Rock and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, of course, has history with The Rock as well. He's annoyed that at Survivor Series, The Rock came back to do stuff with Triple H or with these guys and not with Roman Reigns, the head of the table. So there's an altercation there. That keeps The Rock busy during the match. That will obviously eventually add as build to the Roman Reigns versus The Rock match that we all know we're going to get at WrestleMania 2023.
Heavily rumored.
Right. So that's just another layer to that story. That's why The Rock's in. That's really the reason why Rock's in this, right? But we made it seem like it was to get Triple H to come back out of retirement. Obviously he can't because he's retired, but that's the kayfabe reason. And so because of that, The Rock is taken away from the match. And despite all that, there's some miscommunication between Seth Rollins and Austin Theory that eventually leads to Theory and Rollins having words during the match. They lose the match. Cody Rhodes and his team win. And Seth Rollins and Austin Theory start to get into a bit of a thing because Theory thinks he should be the leader of the group. Seth Rollins thinks he should be the leader of the group. So that's going to keep those two guys busy after Survivor Series. But Cody Rhodes still feels like he's got unfinished business with Triple H, and he's really mad now. You know, he feels silly that Triple H kind of left him in a lurch like that. But the Triple H is still getting in his way and throwing obstacles at him. And it could just be an endless stream of people Triple H can pick from NXT.
Yeah.
What can Cody Rhodes do? There's at one point Cody Rhodes actually goes to a taping of NXT. He's backstage trying to find Triple H to confront him. Triple H, of course, is kept away and shuffled away by security, you know. But it's like a little incident that goes on at the taping. Cody Rhodes is pretty adamant. He just needs to get to Triple H. It's the reason he came back to WWE, you know. And the commentators start calling Cody out for this. They're like, come on, man. This guy, he's retired. He had a heart attack. Like,
yeah,
leave him alone. Fight the other guys on the roster. But it's starting to become an obsession. Mm-hmm. And you can see that with Cody Rhodes. He starts to crack. He feels as if he's going mad, as if he's the only one that can really see what's going on. You know? It's just Triple H is taunting Cody, right? That's got to be what it is. So Cody feels as if he's kind of going down a dark road, pun intended. Cody Rhodes, thank you. Anyway, he starts.
That laugh was just a small upgrade from from like exhaling out the nose kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
One step
up from that.
You weren't laughing at a joke. You were laughing at like you saw a picture of a monkey on a bicycle on Twitter.
At that exact time.
Yeah. Because the storyline's not that interesting. So like, I gotta check Twitter.
Very talented monkey.
Yeah, dude, on the bicycle, amazing.
Yeah.
So Cody Rhodes is starting to feel, going down a dark road as his obsession with Triple H starts to get a bit more obvious, and it all comes to a head at the December pay-per-view. Let's call it TLC. I don't know if they're doing December pay-per-views anymore. Well, December
to dismember.
December premium live events, I suppose. They haven't brought that back in a while.
I wonder why they haven't brought back December to dismember.
No Hardcore Holly to main event it.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
No viscera.
No, exactly. They missed a trick there, man. So Cody Rhodes isn't on this show at all because he's been so erratic recently. But we do see during the pay-per-view itself, we see some vignettes of Cody Rhodes driving his car. He's managed to get a rogue cameraman with him, and this is kind of playing all the way through the event. And eventually, we realize that Cody Rhodes is driving to Triple H's house. So we get a live footage of Cody Rhodes barging his way into Triple H's house with the cameraman following him. It's all shaky hand camera footage, but Cody brought the cameraman with him to show the world that Triple H is just faking the whole thing, that he's not really sick, to catch him by surprise. And Cody breaks into the house, and he's really surprised to see Triple H is sat by a kitchen table. He's got like a blanket wrapped around him, and Stephanie McMahon is feeding him dinner.
Oh my god.
Cody Rhodes is mortified that this is all going out live. Stephanie McMahon explains that, Triple H isn't a total invalid, but she's feeding him food because he gets tired really quickly now. After the whole thing, he just doesn't have any stamina anymore. And so sometimes after a hard day at work, like the pay-per-view is stressful and all that, so she has to, help him with food sometimes. And he's, all shivery and stuff. But she's
Can
like...
I just clarify something quickly?
Yes.
So, Cody Rhodes is broken into this house.
Yes.
He's actually broken in. And Stephanie McMahon hears this, and she's still like, oh, let's take another spoon of pudding and give it to Triple H.
Well, like Cody Rhodes finds him in the kitchen, right?
Right.
So, like, they're just like, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, what is going on? And she's like, I'm helping my husband eat dinner. What are you doing?
Right. Okay.
So she explains all this stuff, and Cody Rhodes is like, no, it's Triple H, right? But he looks at Triple H, with like food dribbling down the side of his chin, and he's like, he realizes that Triple H is retired, and also he's broken into this house.
What a dick!
And it's all being broadcast live on pay-per-view, and he apologizes. Of course, Stephanie McMahon is not happy about this. But he leaves the house. He's like, I'm sorry, I had a momentary lapse of judgment, whatever. So the next week, Cody Rhodes comes out and he talks to the WWE Universe. He apologizes. He wants to make everything right. He got too overexcited. He made a mistake. He let his obsession get the better of him. It's on him. But unfortunately for Cody Rhodes, Stephanie McMahon's music hits for the first time in a long time. And she comes out and she makes it very clear to Cody Rhodes that he should have just left them all alone, because they're going to press charges against him. He entered their house. He tried to assault poor Triple H. Now Cody is going to get the opportunity to fight Triple H, but it'll be in a courtroom through legalities. She hopes that this is what Cody Rhodes always wanted, because that's what he's going to get. And so now Cody Rhodes is very depressed. He doesn't know what to think. He's haunted by the specter of Triple H, and now he really has got what he wanted, but just not the way he wanted it,
Clever.
And he realizes this is why you don't mess with Triple H. He really is this cerebral assassin. He knows how to get people in more than just physical ways, but Cody Rhodes is a man, and eventually he accepts it. He takes the blame. He made the move. He brought that on himself. He deserves it. So at the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes appears to do a little promo in front of the live crowd to explain himself one last time before he'll get temporarily taken off TV due to the legal battle with Triple H. So he has a tear in his eye because he genuinely just wanted to wrestle in WWE again, but due to his own headstrong nature, he got overexcited, and now he's going to have to go away for a while. That's not what he wanted, but rest assured, he'll be back soon. And before he can get any further, a man runs through the crowd, a masked man, probably one of Triple H's flunkies, and hits Cody Rhodes around the back of the head. Cody is stunned as the Creed brothers and Seth Rollins run out. They grab Cody and they hold him back as the masked man pulls off his mask triumphantly to reveal Triple H.
Oh my God.
So the Creed brothers hold Cody Rhodes back. Seth presents Triple H with his trademark sledgehammer. And Triple H cracks Cody Rhodes over the head with it. Everybody is stunned as Cody lies in a crumpled heap on the canvas and Triple H poses with the boys. The next night on Raw, Cody is at the hospital and Triple H appears in the video package as he explains himself. The reports of his sickness have been greatly exaggerated. Did he really suffer a medical emergency back in 2021? He did. It's now, timeline-wise, early 2023, and you'd be amazed at what kind of a motivator that spite can be. You know what I mean? Maybe he overplayed how serious it was. People will never know because Triple H is the best at playing mind games. Cody Rhodes wanted to come back and fight Triple H, but Cody forgot who he was dealing with. Only one person could play the game in such a masterful way, and that's Triple H. He was ahead of Cody at every single step. Triple H knew Cody would crack and even come to his house. He knew all of this because this is pro wrestling. This has happened before. He's been laying all these groundworks. The acting that Triple H did that night was masterful, Oscar-worthy. Him with a little bit of soup dribbling off his mouth as Cody Rhodes looked like he was about to assault him. It was beautiful. Everybody talks about how great of an actor The Rock is, but Triple H just put him to shame. He had everybody fooled. Everybody. Triple H completely played Cody. He completely played everybody. The entire world. The lawsuit was a stroke of genius. It really put the icing on the top of the cake. Now, is Triple H retired? Not quite. Not yet. He still has enough left in him to beat the piss out of Cody Rhodes. This upstart, this pretender, this Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes wanted the match. He's got it. You don't know what kind of trouble you're in until you're in it. So once Cody Rhodes recovers from the sledgehammer shot, he's back on WWE TV. He's angry. He's ready to march through hell and high water to get to Triple H. He knew he was right. He knew not to trust Triple H. And now he finally gets his hands on him at WrestleMania. So in between now and Mania, we can have Triple H continue to taunt Cody from behind the scenes. You know, he's never in the same place as Cody, but he's always around to taunt him. At the Elimination Chamber, Cody could fight a handicap match against the Creed brothers, and to show his newfound anger, he just he runs right through them. The numbers game doesn't even get to him anymore. He's just focused. He's got to get to Triple H. And this, Triple H was pretty sure this would be a great roadblock, but Cody Rhodes is focused. Triple H continues to taunt Cody, but Cody has one last ace up his sleeve. Yeah, Triple H and Cody are going to fight at WrestleMania, but Triple H made it personal, made Cody Rhodes look like an idiot, so it's a blood feud now. And back in the day, Triple H used to finish blood feuds inside a particular structure, one that might seem overplayed by now, but it's the only way to settle things. So we're going to have Cody Rhodes versus Triple H at WrestleMania in a Hell in a Cell match.
That's so bloody good. Like, yeah, it's overplayed because they base a fucking pay-per-view around it and have these matches every year. I miss the days where it is a blood feud and you need that structure to fucking end the feud.
Exactly.
Big fan of that.
Well, so that's the match. We've got a year's worth of booking, some serious bait and switches, some misdirection, a whole lot of fun pro wrestling bullshit that leads to Cody Rhodes versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. Obviously, Cody Rhodes goes over. He finally beats Triple H. He gets what he wanted. Triple H gets a better way to retire than just being sick. You know, it's a great spectacle match, a good WrestleMania match, but also it's a good way to kind of cover for Triple H. It's not a straight up wrestling match, you know. He can take a couple of bumps and make it look good where he's not really overexerting himself. He kind of cover.
One might say you can use smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it's only smoke and mirrors.
There you go.
You see? So you can use that to kind of cover some of Triple H's weaknesses now that he's legitimately going to retire because of his health. Cody Rhodes gets a huge push by finally completing what he set out to do and beating the top name at WrestleMania, proving himself right. A WrestleMania-worthy match, I think we can agree. So in 2023, we've already said we're going to get Roman Reigns versus The Rock, but now I've given us Cody Rhodes versus Triple H as well, which I think is pretty big.
Yeah.
So obviously, there's been some fantasy booking here. We always pride ourselves on being like as straight up and as realistic as possible. Now, obviously, I've taken a couple of liberties by the Triple H thing, but it was too good to not do.
Yeah,
it was. It's such a Triple H thing to do, the bait and switch, and you know. To make everybody think he's retired and then to come out of retirement and say he fooled everybody. That's such a Triple H thing.
It really is. I don't think there's any problems with that. I mean, he might still be able to go in another match. You never know.
We don't know.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
we don't know.
And the Rock coming back makes sense because he's heavily rumoured to come back for WrestleMania.
Yes.
So I don't think you've taken like massive liberties
And
there.
another one you mentioned as well, the Hell in a Cell. It's been obviously overplayed because the name of pay-per-view after it, so they crowbar it in instead of using it the way it should be used. But I hopefully have used it in a way that makes it make sense and as a blow off to a big feud, you know. So that's it. That's my rebooking of Cody Rhodes in WWE.
That was bloody great. I knew. I mean, it was obvious that there was going to be some kind of like Triple H reveal at some point. You know, I could see it leading up to that, and it's when you had him in the house getting spoon fed by Stephanie. I'm like, there's something not right here. And then like just when I was thinking that's when you brought him back and had him take off the mask. So that was genius. I don't know if you played this into the story, but or if you remember this, but Triple H has also invaded someone's house before on a live broadcast.
Yes.
So I like that because, you know, I like the whole house invasion thing because Triple H has been there. He knows how this all works. He knows that mindset. So he's prepared for Cody doing this and gotten Stephanie to wrap him up in a blanket and then have some pudding.
That was kind of the illusion is that Cody Rhodes wants to beat up Triple H. He's seen Triple H's career. He knows the kind of stuff Triple H has played. So that's why he goes to the house because he thinks that would be a good way to do it. And Triple H knows Cody's going to do that. That's why he's prepared for it. You know?
Well, as well, like you said at the start, I think it was jokingly, but you said at the start Triple H is one of the only guys who watches WWE Raw and the pay-per-views and stuff. Like Triple H is probably at home watching this pay-per-view, watching Cody Rhodes drive to his house. He knows. Lots of time to prepare, you know. So that just makes sense. And like at the same time, though, with that, you know, Triple H kind of getting the sympathy factor and Cody Rhodes feeling like a bit of a dick. That was really clever because, you know, at that point, I was thinking there was going to be a Triple H reveal, but I wasn't sure, you know, because you kind of played it heavy that Triple H is really sick. But no, that was really good. Bringing the Creed brothers in makes sense. You know, they're set for the main roster after a bit more kind of fine tuning in NXT. I think you know, they're going to be a dominant tag team about a year from now. What else? It's like I said as well. You're not taking too many liberties, I don't think. It's all very feasible stuff that happened in the storyline, and and to end it in Hell in a Cell just makes sense. I mean, this is it's probably one of the biggest dream match of the last 5 years, because Cody Rhodes was the Triple H of AEW, and like, you know, he had the whole fucking sledgehammer throne thing which we discussed before, and you know, it just makes sense for that to happen, right? And to have it inside a Hell in a Cell as a blood feud, like I said when you announced it, just no. I miss the days of we need to settle this, you know, inside Hell in a Cell, because there's no other way we can do this. You guys need to go to hell together. So, but yeah, man, really enjoyed that storyline. You know, you played Cody really well there. You know, you had a few twists in there as well, which worked really well. And yeah, I think it's a bloody good booking.
Thank you very much. But speaking of good bookings, that like I said, that rebooking, I had that in my head for a while. I thought about it for a long time. But wouldn't it be more fun to listen to a rebooking that is a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit, you know, kind of made up in around about 60 or so seconds? Wouldn't that be fun?
I think not. I think let's end the episode.
Well, you know what? I've already done enough talking with my rebooking. I think maybe you should try that, the 60-second kind of thing.
I don't know.
I think. Well, why don't we give it a go just to see how it works?
Oh, go on then.
Why don't we play a little game of Kayfabe Tombola? So, everybody, we're about to play a little game of Kayfabe Tombola. We all know the rules by now. If you're not familiar with the rules, basically, Bryce is going to pick from a little pool of 4 wrestlers, 4 scenarios, and we'll have 60 seconds-ish to be able to make up a really good booking involving that wrestler that he selected and the scenario he selected. Easy. Couldn't be easier. If you want to get involved, you can send your own wrestlers and submissions through to Making Kayfabe at Making Kayfabe on Twitter and on Instagram, and makingkayfabe@gmail.com. All you need is 4 wrestlers, 4 wacky scenarios, and we will be happy to oblige and put them into a future episode of Making Kayfabe. So today's Tombola has been sent in by a good friend of the show, CJ Palmisano.
Hey, CJ!
From Not Another Wrestling Podcast and from Fan Speculation.
Great podcast.
He has sent his Tombola through Twitter. So like we said, you can send them, DM us, PM us, all of the M's.
Oh, just Emma's, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know, going on from last week's episode, CJ actually tweeted us today saying that he grew up with Wallace and Gromit. CJ, who's from New York, I believe. So
I saw that and I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, go on, CJ, yeah.
That ribs.
Wallace and Gromit made it to the US.
We were really bigging up Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
We were like, that shit rips, dude. And he's seen it too. The rules, man. So he knows what he's talking about.
He does.
And so he has selected 4 wrestlers and 4 scenarios for you, Bryce, to be able to choose from. Are you excited?
How kind of you, CJ.
Oh, he's been kind, all right. I think when you see some of these, you'll be like, hey, he did a good job, man.
Okay.
So all you have to do at the moment is give me a little number letter combination.
I will do exactly that. I will go for number 2, D.
Oh, the Gorillas.
The old Gorillas pick, yeah.
2D. Oh, excellent. Okay, well, do you want me to tell you the wrestlers you didn't select?
Please tell me.
Unfortunately for Bryce, you did not select Viscera.
Oh, you're fucking joking.
You missed out on
I had
Viscera.
the chance of getting Viscera, and I missed Viscera.
You missed out. Although, the one you did pick is still a favorite of yours, so
okay.
You're okay.
Is it Big Daddy V?
Well, you didn't get Danhausen.
Oh, I like Danhausen.
You didn't get Paul Burchill.
Because pirate.
Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you who you did get.
Oh, please tell me. Is it Stevie Richards?
It's not Stevie Richards.
Who we got?
I'm not sure if you like this guy more than Stevie Richards. You got Kurt Angle.
Oh, nice. I love Kurt Angle. Yeah, he's my favorite wrestler. Yeah.
There you go. So, I thought you'd like him.
That'll do, yeah. That'll do. Kurt Angle and a Kayfabe Tombola.
That'll do. No need to hear the scenarios.
No, just I'll talk about Kurt Angle for 60 seconds-ish.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
Well, I think we should give him something to do.
Oh.
So let's hear the stuff that he's not going to be doing.
Okay.
We're not going to be hearing about Kurt Angle landing a role in a big Hollywood film like The Rock or Batista. None of that.
Okay.
No, sir. We're not going to hear about Kurt Angle becoming Vince McMahon for a day. I'm intrigued about what could happen with
that would have been a fun one to write.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We're not going to hear... I like this one. We're not going to hear about how Kurt Angle thinks that every bald man with a goatee is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not...
he's like watching Breaking Bad and he's like, that's not Heisenberg, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The fuck is this shit? not gonna hear about that. But Bryce, you're gonna have 60 seconds ish to tell me and the world all about Kurt Angle, who tries to do every other job in wrestling besides actually wrestling: commentator, referee, ring announcer, backstage interview guy, etc.
Right.
So he's gonna try and do everything himself except wrestle. And all you get just 60 seconds to do that. It's easy.
So can I just clarify here? So he tries to do every other job at the same time.
I don't think you could do them all. Well, I think that's up to you.
Right.
I would have tried, like, he tries something and then he tries something else and then just sees what works. If you really want him to try and do all of them at once,
just
that's
sets up
up
a tripod
to you.
for the camera and then like has a headset on when he's doing commentary and referees a match. I don't know. Okay. Tries to do every other job in wrestling. Now, every other job, that's a lot to go through in 60 seconds ish.
I mean, you don't have to go job by job and tell me every. I'm not going to penalize you.
I'm
for
just gonna list the jobs.
You didn't say the guy who cleans up the thing. You didn't say the guy who takes the tickets. You know, I'm like, it's your discretion, man. You're the one writing the show.
Okay.
Would you like me to put 60 or so seconds on the clock?
Okay, let's do it. Let's see what we can do here.
All right, I'm gonna count you down from 3, and then we're gonna do this thing. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this.
All right. So Kurt Angle famously has retired from wrestling. Now, the only problem with that is that Kurt Angle, the only thing he was good at was wrestling. Everything else in life he totally sucks at. So, you know, but he's going to try and overcome that. He's going to try and overcome the fact that he's not great at many things in life. So he's going to start in the wrestling world because, you know, the wrestling world is what he knows. So he's going to try out for some different jobs in WWE. So, for example, he tries out as a referee and he gets to referee a match. And then, you know, let's say it's Brock Lesnar versus fucking, I don't know, Cody Rhodes. Brock Lesnar hits the F5. Kurt Angle gets onto the mat. He says, 1, 2... What comes next? I've totally forgotten what comes next. What do I do? It ends up totally screwing up the match. So, you know, Vince McMahon says, right, Kurt, maybe refereeing is not for you. So he decides to try it as an announcer. So, you know, a ring announcer. So, you know, to actually commentate on the matchups. So, and he gets a matchup against, let's say it's fucking Kid Cash versus Nunzio, for example.
Finally.
He's calling the action, the match we've all been waiting for. He's calling the action, and he's forgotten the name of the moves. So Kid Cash hits like a drop kick, and Kurt Angle's like, what's that flying boot move that you just used there? And so it lasts one match in commentary. It just doesn't work out for him. So he decides to try it as a backstage interviewer, and, you know, he gets this person on screen. Let's say it's Chad Gable, and he says, I'm here tonight with what was your name again? He's just doing really bad. So Vince says, right, fuck this. You can't be a referee, you can't be an announcer, you can't be an interviewer. We need to employ you because we feel obligated to do that. So let's just make you the fucking popcorn selling guy. All I want you to do is sell popcorn. And, you know, Kurt Angle says, right, cool, surely I can sell popcorn. I can do something right here. So anyway, he starts selling popcorn. He comes up, there's a guy who comes up to him and starts complaining about the popcorn that Kurt Angle's just sold him. And the guy's complaining, and he's saying, what the fuck is this? This is terrible, terrible customer service. And Kurt Angle just snaps. Kurt Angle just locks this guy in the ankle lock, breaks his ankle, and then says, how about that for poor customer service, you piece of shit? And then, you know, obviously gets fired from that job as well. So, you know, Kurt Angle, he gave it a good go. Trying different jobs in wrestling, but it just didn't work out for him.
Okay, that was 2 minutes, 24 seconds.
60 seconds-ish.
That was more than twice when you were...
60 seconds-ish. If you round up to the nearest 2 minutes, 24 seconds, I've done it right. So
That is a big-ish.
That's a fucking capital-ish.
This is a really big-ish. But you got there. Kurt Angle did all the jobs.
He did all the jobs. That's the thing with the jobs. Like, you can't just...
You had a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, a lot of ground to cover, exactly. So I'm actually surprised I've done it in 2 minutes 24. I was expecting that to be about 10 minutes long. So that was going to be a separate episode at one point.
Yeah, that's really what next week's episode is about.
It's just a continuation of CJ's Kayfabe Tombola.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, CJ, for sending that in.
CJ, love you, buddy. Thank you for that.
It was lovely, and like we said, if you want to do your send in your own tombolas, we're still waiting for. We have still a couple of spaces left for the end of the season. If you want to send your own tombolas in for wrestlers, for wacky scenarios, at makingkayfabe@gmail.com or on Twitter and Instagram at makingkayfabe. Simple stuff. All right, so there we have it. There is our second Cody Rhodes rebooking in a row, but this time it was from the WWE. And you know what? We got a little bit of Kurt Angle action to boot as well. That sounds like the perfect episode to me. I don't know about you, Bryce. What do you think?
I think it was a very good episode with a very good Kayfabe Tombola to end it. I won't accept any other opinions from anybody.
Exactly. It was a perfect episode all around, and we refuse to take any criticism. However, if you do have any criticism, or if you have anything else you want to say to us or about the show, if you enjoyed it, we'd love to hear from you guys. We're on YouTube, Making Kayfabe. Love to hear some of those comments. If you like the show, again, let us know on Twitter at Making Kayfabe or on Instagram at Making Kayfabe. MakingKayfabe@gmail.com. Just let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. We really would. Feedback really helps us out. We're starting season 6. We're rolling along. We love to hear from you guys. So feel free to get in touch. And also, if you guys feel inclined, we are at Patreon. Woo! Patreon.com/Making Kayfabe. We've got all sorts of rebookings going on up there. We've got all sorts of other things going along as well. We've got some new shows we're trying out. Check it out. Maybe you'll find something you're interested in. You know what I mean? If not, a little share, a little retweet, a little 5-star review on some of those podcast apps. That kind of stuff helps us out. You don't even have to spend a penny. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that. But we're going to wrap things up pretty soon. Bryce is going to be back next week with his own rebooking of something I want to know. I know he's not going to tell me what it's about, but I wonder if he's got some clues lined up for us. Maybe he could give us some teasers to see if we can figure it out. So, Bryce, what have you got in store for us next week? What can you tell us?
I've got something lined up for next week, which is... It's what could have been an iconic feud that was started but was never followed up on.
I guess I should have asked you, Bryce, what is Cody Rhodes going to do next week?
Yeah. He's a zombie, I told you.
Dang.
He's king of the zombies.
Oh, wow.
Cody Rhodes is king of the zombies, which was a feud that was started but never quite finished, yeah.
Exactly. And if that's intrigued you, you're going to have to stick around till next week to find out exactly what we're up to. Remember to subscribe, to like, to retweet, all that fun stuff to make sure that you stay in the loop for all the Making Kayfabe shenanigans. It's going to be amazing. You're not going to want to miss next week's episode. Trust me on this. It's going to be amazing. I don't even know what it is, but I have faith in Bryce. I know he's going to deliver big time. So, we're going to see you guys next week. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.